we need to talk about music. I think it's safe to say music is nothing more than a reflection of the leading culture. It influences culture, and culture influences it. They are one and the same. And I think if you're watching this video, it's safe to say that you probably don't want anything to do with today's culture, because it's very degenerate. And if you want a happy life, you want a fulfilling life, you want to go to heaven, you need to run far away from culture as far as you can. Now, for a lot of us, we have realized that music is very, very pervasive in not just, the culture, but also the way we act. I think the best example of this is when you look at people who listen to a certain kind of music. Now, I'm going to just pick the top two, my most influential types of music. It's been basically hip hop and pop. Those two, the people who listen to that type of music, whichever one it is, they tend to speak that way, right? Music has a massive influence in the way people speak and their slang. Like, I like to think of like UK rap. It started getting popular in the last 5 to 8 years. And a lot of the way we speak is that way. Like, for me, I didn't know anything about hip hop, about English culture. I didn't know anything about English slang or any of that. But I started listening to UK rap, and all of a sudden, I'm saying, come to my ends, or whatever it is, right? Like, I'm speaking about that. It's like, it's so crazy just how much it influences the way we think and the way we speak. And I think we can drill deeper into that, because that's where the problem is, right? Now, whether you did know that before, that music actually affects the way you think, or you did, but you struggle to break it down, I think it's important for us to just speak about just how bad it is, right? I've mentioned now how it influences the culture and the way people speak. In order to do that, it needs to influence your thoughts. Like, music heavily influences your thoughts, because of course, right, you think of the famous quote of you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. Why is that? Because the people that you hang around the most, people you speak with, right, you're hearing what they're saying a lot of the time, and you're adopting their ways of thinking, because as humans, that's how we are. We want to fit in, right? We want to be like the people around us. And that's where that quote comes, where you're the average of the 5 people you hang around. Nowadays, that quote is it's still applicable for sure, but now it's not the people you hang around. It's more like the 5 biggest content creators you consume, right? That one is particularly to do with YouTube, because I know a lot of us watch YouTube. Someone like me who watches YouTube, I know a lot of people nowadays, obviously, we're not hanging around people in person as much, right? I think they've done studies, bro, like, I forgot what it was like 50% of, I think it was particularly men, like 50% of men don't have like any close friends. Like, bro, people have no friends nowadays. I think we can all agree on that one. Everyone's online, right? So that quote can be switched from you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most to you're the average of the 5 content creators you consume, or whose content you consume, because that influences how you think. And the same thing applies to music. If you're spending hours every day listening to music, of course it's going to influence the way you think, right? It's going to influence the way you speak. It's going to influence the way you act and the things you say. But most importantly, the way you think, right? As Christians and as people who are trying to like improve ourselves and break away from the degeneracies of this world, you can't wonder why you struggle to break away from your addictions and your bad habits when you're listening to degenerate music, right? Because that's influencing. Like, I want to speak about hip hop. Like, for me, I listen to hip hop and pop. Both of them, honestly, both of them have become degenerate nowadays. You can't really separate them too much. But I'm going to speak about particularly rap, because that's where like the stereotypes are, right? In rap, what are they rapping about? You know what they're rapping about most of the time, right? It's usually like drugs, money, sex, like all of this crap, right? And it's like, well, if you're somebody, let's say for example, you're trying to break away from a porn addiction, right? And we've spoken before about how social media influences that and how that's a big problem. But let's say you've done all of that. You've removed social media, you've removed everything, but you listen to degenerate rap. And they're rapping graphically about sex all the time. This is where that part comes in, where it says it influences your thoughts. You don't need to be listening to the music for it to be influencing your thoughts, because if you listen to like catchy music, it stays in your brain way after you've listened to the song, right? Like, you can listen to a song and then, later in the day, it's like stuck in your head and you're listening to it, right? Your thoughts, bro, just think about this, right? You're supposed to be a human having like your own original thoughts, right? Coming up with thoughts that are applicable to your situation, but now instead of that, you've just got this song playing on repeat in your head. Like, your thoughts are literally those lyrics, right? Now, think about this. You're somebody who's trying to break away from a porn addiction, and you listen to degenerate music, and you're not even listening to it. You're trying to work, bro. You're trying to be productive, and you've got this song busy singing graphic degenerate sexual lyrics in your head going over and over again. That's what your thoughts are. It's literally your thoughts. The lyrics are your thoughts. Somebody else's lyrics are your thoughts. Like, think about how crazy that is, right? You've got that. Well, no wonder you haven't broken your addiction. Duh, right? Like, music is influencing your thoughts that deep. And I think we can take this to another level, right? We can say that music definitely gives Satan a foothold in your brain, right? I forgot where this verse is, but it's a verse about make sure you're sober-minded always, for the devil prowls around looking for someone to devour. And bro, I can tell you music is definitely, I mean, for me, if I was to put a list, I would definitely say it's sex or lust. Let's say lust, right? It's lust and music. Those two are his biggest weapons. Like, they're so easy for you because they're so addictive, right? They're so addictive and they're so penetrative. Like, it's not like, oh, you do it once and then it's like, oh, you've forgotten about it. Like, it's very, very addictive, right? And music definitely gives Satan a foothold in your brain. I've spoken about like most music isn't really like putting forward like a good message. Even the pop, bro. Even the pop that's supposed to be the soft, like, you know, like lovey-dovey like pop music, right? Like, even that. And nowadays it's not about it. It's gotten like very graphically sexual. Like, think about like, okay, who's like the number one like pop person? It's The Weeknd, right? He's got like the most monthly listeners. He's always singing about very degenerate stuff, right? Very graphic sexual stuff. And then you think about like, I don't know, like Ariana Grande. I don't listen to Taylor Swift, so I don't know what the hell she sings about other than like heartbreaks. I don't know. But I remember like Ariana Grande, like all these people, like think Miley Cyrus, all this pop, right? Like, even that was very like degenerate and sexual now. Like, that's what it's about. It's supposed to be the soft, like nice, lovey-dovey music, but that's what's being played now. Like, that is insane. The link between for music and lust, and I've made countless videos before on lust, but music as well, right? And I think another aspect of it I want to speak about is just how like satanic music is. I'm sure you have realized. I remember when I was young, I was like in grade 6, grade 7, so it was like 2013, 2014. I remember my friend came over and we were watching YouTube videos, right? We were watching YouTube videos of like, these artists worship like the Illuminati, right? And they'd like play their songs backwards. I remember like Katy Perry's song Dark Horse. I loved that song, right? I remember like they did the thing where they like played it backwards and it sounded like she was saying something, definitely something satanic, right? And I don't know, that was like conspiracy theories and stuff. Like, that was, I don't know if artists are taking time out of their day to be like, oh, if I say this backwards, it's going to say this satanic thing, so let me say the other way around. I don't think they're doing that. But definitely nowadays it's very, very, very blatant. Like, we don't even need to get into conspiracy theories. We don't need to go online and watch videos of like, oh, reverse their music and this is what they're saying. Like, no, nowadays it's blatantly in your face, like satanic stuff. Look at like, I don't even want to say his name. The guy who made Old Town Road, right? Let's say that. Look at the video he made, like that very, like, it's so graphic, right? Bro, there's so much. Sam Smith, flipping Yeet, bro. Like, honestly, like everyone, and the music is so catchy, like it's so catchy. Lil Uzi, Playboy Cardi, like all of them, like it's blatantly in your face. The satanic worship is in your face, and we also know all about the stories of the satanic influence in music, in the music industry. Like we know all about that, right? So I think it's no wonder, like when you listen to degenerate music, you're literally letting Satan get a foothold in your brain, right? And he will, like as it says again. I'm so annoyed I forgot where this verse is, although I never made any effort to like actually learn where the verse was. But that one says, "Beware, remain sober-minded all the time." I think it's in Peter. I think it's in 1 Peter. Be sober-minded always, for the devil prowls around looking for someone to devour. Right? You may not be drinking alcohol. You know, you may even have like a clear mind in terms of like the food you eat, or whatever. Like you may have like good habits, but if you listen to degenerate music, bro, like massive foothold he's got in your brain for sure. And oh yes, the other thing I wanted to speak about was the concerts, bro. Have you thought about like the image of a concert, what it looks like, right? It's one person on an elevated platform, right, on a stage, and you've got these hundreds of thousands of people surrounding that person, and they're all like lifting their hands up to them, and they're like not trying to get the attention, but like, you know, everyone is all like, all the energy is pointed towards that one person. It's like, it's literally like worship. And I saw this one Instagram reel. It's also a TikTok. Same thing, right? They drew this image of like the Israelites worshiping Baal in, I think it's in the book of Exodus. Like they made an image, right, of like a golden calf and all these people worshiping it, and then they made more images of like, people worshiping like, yeah, golden statues, and then they switched the image literally to a concert, and they were literally just showing that like, yeah, there's no difference. There's literally no difference. It's the same thing, right? It looks the same. The imagery is the same, and it's got the same kind of mentality, right? I was actually thinking about this before I made this video. The fact that like people have like idols, like we literally say like, oh, this is my idol. Like you used to be like, oh, this is my role model. This is my idol. It's like, bro, what do you mean your idol, right? Your only idol should be Jesus. What are you talking about? Your idol, like that is crazy, and that obviously is very right for the music industry as well. Like, oh, this is my idol. I want to be like this person in the music industry. So I think, yeah, that was just my little. That's not a rant, like genuinely like a deep talk about how bad music is and why you really should be cutting it out. For me, I say this as well, like I literally before this episode I was listening to The Weeknd and like Polo G and all these, like I was listening to like degenerate songs, right? I know how hard it is to cut out, but I've definitely like made I think from last year I wanted to cut out music. It was mainly because I wanted to cut it out because it's not good for like your focus, because again, if you're trying to focus and you got the song stuck in your head, that's not gonna work, right? But particularly to do with this, I've been wanting to like cut out, and I have periods where I do cut out, like I manage to cut it out, but yeah, it's a work in progress, right? But genuinely, I just thought we should have this discussion on like just how bad music is, and I think you should also, you should reflect on it. I definitely think it's something we should all be looking to cut out, and like my aim is to get to a point where I'm literally just like listening to worship music and Christian rap, like that's it. Like I'm not listening to degenerate influences. But you guys let me know what you think of the topic in the comment section below. And until next time, see you boys.